like our guests are here.
Call meeting to order this morning. Welcome to 2018. And welcome to 2018. We'll have the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation, Supervisor Bishop, and the Pledge of Allegiance, Supervisor Angus. If you'll please rise.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today to give you honor and praise. We thank you for our great country, and we ask your divine wisdom for all of our leaders here today. May we be given the wisdom and the courage in the decisions that we make. We ask that you guide and direct our meeting so that it's full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. We thank you for the accomplishments of reaching our goals, and we pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ready to call you?
All set. Okay. The Board of Supervisors may, by motion, recess into executive session to receive legal advice from the board attorney on any item contained in this agenda pursuant to the Arizona Revised Statutes. Need a motion and action to call for an executive session to be held on January 16th, 2018 at 9 a.m. for discussion and consultation with legal counsel in accordance with Arizona Revised Statutes.
So moved.
We have a motion and second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. The Board of Supervisors may by motion recess into executive session to discuss and consider items noticed on this agenda with an asterisk pursuant to the Arizona Revised Statutes, which authorizes discussions and considerations of employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, demotion, dismissal, salary, discipline, or resignation of a public officer, appointee, or employee of the county. On to the official business. Discussion pending legal contemplation, litigation, and claims. Mr. Esplin.
Nothing to report.
Committee and legislative reports. Start with Supervisor Johnson.
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Bishop.
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Angus.
Nothing this morning.
Supervisor Wakamoto.
Nothing this morning.
We're batting 1,000. No reports this morning. I have no one either. Number 3, County Administrator's report.
I have no report today, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
No report. Okay. Approval of the November 20th and December 4th, 2017 Board of Supervisors regular meeting minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Corrections? There being none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. On to the call of the public. Those wishing to address the board at the call of the public regarding matters not on the agenda must fill out and submit to the clerk a call to the public request to speak form located in the back of the room prior to the meeting. Action taken as a result of the public comments will be limited to responding to criticism, referral to staff, or placing a matter on a future agenda. Comments are restricted to items not on the regular agenda with the exception of the consent agenda and must relate to matters within the jurisdiction of this board. I have one person signed up to speak. Call to the public. Michael Boone.
Michael Boone, 2210 Palo Verde North, Lake Havasu City. Good morning, Happy New Year. I provided all the board members this morning some items that I printed off, which took a minimal amount of time to do. Several months ago, I came before you and made reference about the Sheriff's Department and getting vehicles that could be refurbished instead of indebting the taxpayer to more and more money of buying cars. The sheriff shot a fire across the bow in a newspaper article about me saying it's not practical. Well, I've got a number of sophisticated long-term police administrators who use these programs and are quite successful with these programs. One is a Chevrolet dealer, which actually has a complete law enforcement refurbishing, including Chevy Tahoes, that they refurbish for almost half the cost of the purchase of a new one, and warranty them. Their technicians are certified by Chevrolet, and their fleet services and law enforcement division. I provided you an article that came out of a paper in California from Delano Police Chief. This guy is a very sophisticated long-term police executive who is very fiscal responsible, and he also talks about refurbishing cars. There's an organization called policeone.com that has multiple videos on it that show how the cars are taken down, how they're refurbished, how the suspensions are redone, and the engines. So it's a practical approach to refurbishing cars and using them in a county government which we're very strapped on money, rather than just keep buying new cars so you can run around town looking cool. So I think that there should be some serious looking at this refurbishing. They'll also do county vehicles. They'll do trucks. So rather than just writing a check for brand new cars, maybe we ought to start looking at this on how to save money for 2018. Thank you. And you have all the copies.
Anyone else wishing to speak at the call of the public? There being none, then we'll go on to the presentations, the Mojave County Sheriff Canine demonstration. Gentlemen, come on down.
Well, good morning and Happy New Year. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Epsilon, Mr. Hendricks, and of course, Madam Clerk. Exciting year for us. We're looking forward to delving into 2018. Coming into office last year, we had some goals that we wished to accomplish. One of the top goals was the acquisition of canine, both handlers and dogs for the sheriff's office. We started out with 0. We're now up to 5. I'm very excited about that. So as I told you earlier in the year, I would like to do a brief presentation to show you what these dogs are capable of doing. And I think we'll start with Deputy Ruiz and his dog Thor. And this is an exercise in narcotics detection. Sam?
Good morning.
Morning,
Good
Sam.
morning.
Everybody's talking about dirty money, right? I'm going to demonstrate how a dog can find dirty money. 90% of the currency you carry in your person has border on it. What are the four main illegal drugs we have here? Marijuana, meth, cocaine, heroin. So we're going to find some dirty money. Go to find it.
Keep that dog away from me, Sam. Oh boy, Chairman Watson. There is a dollar hidden behind your nameplate. Good job, Thor.
You a good jail bondsman?
I know a good one. I guess I better contact him, huh? Thank you very much. All right, Thor.
This
Good
is
job.
the point in the presentation where Sam would normally address the crowd and say, now I told you 90% of your money has, compounds of illicit drugs on there, so I'm going to have to seize all of your money as evidence. We haven't been successful with that yet, but we're doing well. Okay, next up we have Deputy Kevin Gano with his dog, Bruno. Good job, Thor. And Deputy Gano is going to show us a little bit of obedience training.
Or not.
As you can tell, Bruno's very excited to be here.
Nice. Push it. Here. Push it. Front. Good boy, buddy. Good boy.
Oh, boy.
Come on, Bruno.
He's saying good morning.
Good morning.
Push it.
As you can see, they're reward driven. The toy is everything to these dogs. If they perform the function, they receive the toy. Great job, Deputy Gano and Bruno. And I want to thank you for the time. We've been very fortunate, and I feel very blessed about it. As you know, the county does not have funding for our canine program. It's understandable. We have been strapped over the past several years, but we were very lucky to come into contact with a group of citizens who said, we're going to back the sheriff's office, we're going to seek funding, and they have been actively pursuing donations to augment our canine program. And in just a minute, I'd like to bring Janice Brown up. She's one of the active members. But the nice thing about this group, they actually formed an incorporation. They're called the Mojave County Sheriff's Canine Foundation. And that way, people who donate have the ability to write off those donations. It's kind of a win-win. And we do have a request of the board, but I think I'd like to bring Janice up now and let her explain a little bit about the foundation, and then she'll present the request to you. Janice?
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year to you. I'm Janice Young, one of 9 board members of the Mojave County Sheriff's Canine Foundation, which we are proud to say is a 501c3 nonprofit. The foundation's mission is to provide financial support for the Sheriff's Canine Unit and to promote positive policy strengthening community relations between the Canine Unit and area businesses, organizations, and individuals. To this endeavor, the Mojave County Sheriff's Canine Foundation continually fundraises through meetings with businesses, owners, and organizations and individuals sharing the benefits that the Canine Unit brings to your community. Since August 2017, funds have been raised from various donators in the amount of $37,000 already, so we're pretty proud of that. The foundation's focus is currently on a canine matching gift project, which is a partnership between the Mojave County Sheriff's Office and the National Association of the Chiefs of Police, another 501c3 nonprofit with the same mission. The National Association of Chiefs of Police have already committed matching funds to any amount the Mojave County Canine Foundation raises during the month of January 2018. The program has been designed so that a selected law enforcement agency can work together with their local community in the fundraising effort, which the National Association of Chiefs of Police believes strengthens the relationship between the agency and the community. The Canine Matching Gift Project works as follows. 1, the National Association of Chiefs of Police assigned the Mojave County Sheriff's Canine Foundation a month in which to fundraise in the community. We have been assigned January 2018. 2, any funds collected during this time, whether they be individuals, businesses, or fundraisers, are eligible for this match. And I invite you to our large fundraiser, the Mojave County Canine Foundation 4-Man Golf Scramble, January 27th at the Los Lagos Golf Course in Fort Mojave. I ask for your support by either playing, sponsoring a hole, or participating on that day during lunch, raffles, and t-shirt sales. 3, funds collected are then sent to the National Chiefs of Police along with donor forms. Once the campaign has been completed, the National Chiefs of Police will match the funds dollar for dollar up to $5,000 during the agreed-upon period of time. For example, if the K-9 Foundation raises $4,000 in the month of January, the National Chiefs of Police will match that $4,000 and send Mojave County Sheriff's Department a check for $8,000. 5, at this point, the Mojave County Sheriff's Department writes, the National Chiefs of Police then will match, and within 2 weeks, they will send the $8,000 back to the county. And then 5, the Mojave County Sheriff's Department writes the Mojave County Sheriff's K-9 Foundation a check for that $8,000 to continue their work supporting the K-9 unit. So in conclusion, I draw your attention to business item 24, which addresses the request for the immediate reimbursement of these matching funds to the Mojave County Sheriff's K-9 Foundation so that we may continue our mission. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Clear as mud?
Carl?
So what we're asking for, speaking through the foundation, simply the county's ability to write the check based on the donations they receive, and then once the match is returned, it would go back into county funds with a check being issued out with that matching fund, if that makes sense.
Great. And you'll give us information on how to sponsor a hole at the
Yes.
golf?
Oh, absolutely, and I was going to also extend to Supervisor Johnson, we didn't do our bite demonstration. I do have the suit out in the car. Buster, interested, or?
Nobody needs a suit.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a press release or something so we could give to our constituents and promote this within our districts?
Oh, absolutely, we'll get it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank the officers and the K-9s and for a fine demonstration. Okay, we'll continue with the consent agenda. The following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion of said items unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion and action. So I will start with my left. Supervisor Johnson, anything to pull?
Nothing this morning, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Supervisor Bishop?
I have nothing.
Thank you. Supervisor Angus?
Nothing.
Supervisor Wakamoto?
Number 9.
Item number 9. Okay. Chair would entertain a motion then to accept items 5 through 29 on the consent agenda with the exception of item 9.
So moved.
Motion? And a second. Any further discussion? There being none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Item 9 on the consent agenda, Supervisor Wakamoto.
The program agreement between Health Choice Integrated and Mojave County Community Services, it's the agency, Health Choice Services, that has brought concern to me because over the last few weeks or more, the dealings that they have had in our community have jeopardized, in my feeling, the ability for the community to continue to have good medical care. I don't want us not to pass this since this is the only agency that can actually handle this program, and community services have done a really good job with this, making sure that mentally ill families and other families are given rent, but the connection with Health Choice Services in terms of their relationship with our county has brought me concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Wakamoto.
Chairman Watson? I agree with Supervisor Wakamoto. I've had dealings, too, in behavioral health world with HCIC, and I want to thank Supervisor Wakamoto for bringing this and shining a light on it. because if we don't get the reimbursements and the doctors and the agencies do not get reimbursements, they will leave the county. And if they leave the county, we're in a lot of trouble. And I don't think people realize how overworked, underpaid, and unappreciated the doctors in our medical community in rural areas are. And I want to take this opportunity to thank them publicly. And if this just does a little to help them, then it's worth it. So thank you again.
All right. Is that in the form of a motion for support?
So what would you like to do?
I move to pass it.
A submission to approve. And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? There being none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 30, public hearings. I'll open the public hearing for item number 30, discussion and possible action regarding the adoption of resolution number 2018-005 to rename a road in Gateway Acres, Tract 3, located in Section 5 and 6, Township 24 North, Range 19 West, Sections 1, 3, and 5, Township North, Range 20. From Spiegel Avenue to Letowski Drive, located in Dolan Springs, Mojave County, Arizona. Commission recommended approval by unanimous vote. I have no one signed up for item number 30 with the exception of Mr. Letowski, and I think he wanted to hold back unless there was some discussion. Anyone wishing to speak to item number 30? Okay, there being none, then I'll close the public hearing for item number 30 and entertain a motion for the change of the name.
Motion to
Chairman-
approve. Oh, sorry.
Chairman Watson, this is in my district, and I will make that a motion to approve as written.
We have a motion
And then I'll second it.
and a second. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. On to the regular agenda. Item number 31, discussion of possible action regarding the reclassification of position number 121 from a range 20 to a range 24 with a salary increase from $61,360 annually to $67,496 annually, or from $29.50 an hour to $32.45 an hour, and authorize a contingency transfer to fund 100-01-0401 to cover that increase. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring this item to you from last year. I was looking at the salary range and the responsibilities of our current clerk, and saw that throughout Mojave County, between the cities, that our clerk is remunerated very minimally as opposed to the amount of responsibility that she carries. She's done an excellent job, and that's why I bring this to you. Any discussion? Supervisor Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know how I feel about pay raises, but if you're going to start compensating the clerk competitively, Havasu's at $93,205, Bullhead's at $83,587, and Kingman's at $75,692. I think where you're going is far short of where it should be.
Well, sir, I appreciate your comment. Supervisor Bishop?
I just wanted to comment that our clerk of the board has proven herself over and over again, and in fact, she takes calls from at least one supervisor on the weekends and late into the evenings. I think to replace this particular position, we would have to be competitive at that time, and then we'd be training a new person that may or may not be capable of doing the job. We have a complex county. Clerk of the board is is a very big part of that. So I think she deserves to at least have a wage within the salary range of like cities and counties.
Thank you. Supervisor Angus?
I agree with this. Again, for a little history, there's always history. Several years ago, when our last clerk stepped down, we took our clerk of the board now worked in that office and didn't have some of the things necessary, certifications, education that a clerk needs, and I was proud that we gave her a chance because we knew that she'd be great, and she has been, and she's done all the work, and I think she really deserves this. But the reason I think she's not falling in that upper category is just experience, and can go up from here. But I just like to tweak a little this. Instead of taking it from contingency, I think it should come because the clerk works for the Board of Supervisors. I think that this pay raise should come from our budgets to be split equally from the 5 of us. It wouldn't be a big hit, and it wouldn't touch the contingency. So that would be my motion to approve this, but with the funds coming out equally from the 5 districts. That's in the form of a motion.
Okay. Supervisor Wakamoto?
Being new to the board and working with Jenny she's been very helpful to me and helped me move along, learning as much as she could possibly give me. So I agree with this.
Okay. Is that in the form of a second?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Although there is somewhat of a difference between the way it is written, the transfer would come from the supervisor's budgets individually. I have a question for Coral Lloyd. Ms. Lloyd, if you could answer a couple questions for us.
Good morning.
Good morning. The only question I have is, will it bring any difficulty for you to withdraw
Absolutely
those
not.
funds from each one of the board?
Perfectly fine.
Okay, very good. Just wanted to double check.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, the discussion I had, Mr. Chairman, is we've budgeted our budgets, or supervisors' budgets, and now you're asking us, I don't know how much this is to pick up, but you're asking us for additional funds out of our district, which some of us might not be able to handle.
I believe it would be about $1,500 per district. Would that be about right? 5 districts, $7,000?
Yeah. Be about 1,600.
I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. If your district can't afford it, I'm sure mine can take twice the hit.
You're a heck of a guy, and I'll take you up on it.
Very good. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? There being none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right. Item number 32. This is for the discussion of possible action for the appointments of members, Mojave County Board of Supervisors to regional, state, and county boards. And I've got my copy somewhere. Here we go. I'll start to my left. Supervisor Johnson, would you care to continue to perform the duties of the current commissions and boards that you're currently on?
Sure, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Supervisor Bishop?
Yes, I'd be happy to continue with the boards that I'm on, the 4 listed here.
Okay. Supervisor Angus?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Continue working on the SIR EBT.
Okay.
And that Arizona Secure Rural Schools Coalition does it meet anymore?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think so either. But if it does, I'll be there.
Okay. And Supervisor Wakamoto?
I just have one question. Jean is representing the LEO for Mojave County La Paz workforce, and she gave me the county representation. Is that still the same, or is Jean just going to represent it all?
I believe it needs to be.
Chairman Watson, there was actually an item earlier, well, actually in 2017, that Community Services presented that appointed Supervisor Bishop as the Leo and Supervisor Wakamoto as the board representative.
Okay.
So that one's already been taken care of.
That one's taken care of, okay. All right, so it appears everyone seems to be settled in their responsibilities and job descriptions. Entertain a motion for the approval.
Chairman Watson, I'll move to approve.
We have a motion. I'll second that motion. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. On to item number 33. Discussion, possible action, approve the Public Works Department organizational redesign with its engineering division through placement of position number 1026, engineering technician specialist at range 16, step 8 plus, salary of $29.98 hourly. Reclassification of position number 1028, engineering technician senior to specialist at range 15, step 9, at a salary of $30.22 hourly. Reclassification of position number 1031, engineering technician senior to specialist at range 16, step 9 and plus, salary at $31.13 hourly. Placement of position number 1039, county surveyor at range 22, step 9 plus, salary at $41.51 hourly. And reclassification of position number 200640, engineering technician senior to specialist at range 16, step 7, $27.41 hourly. Reclassification of position 200704, engineering technician senior to specialist at range 16, step 7, salary $27.41. And reclassification of vacant position 200656, civil engineer registered to unregistered from range 22 to range 20. And further approve eliminating vacant authorized positions numbers 960029 and 200639, engineering technician senior, until further notice and authorized by the board, whereas said action will achieve annual personnel salary expense savings to Fund 205, the Highway User Revenue Fund, at a savings of $24,065 minimum annual. Any questions for?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to add something for the board on this particular item. When I first started with the board, there was some discussion on how the county could actually right-size itself and downsize as quickly as possible certain departments and to try to become a more efficient and effective organization. And so the board has allowed me to utilize, to work with the directors to utilize a template to where they look at, take advantage of people retiring or take advantage of people leaving the county and looking at their organization through attrition and looking at reorganizing their organization to right-size it, and then allowing those employees that would remain, that would be taking on additional responsibilities, to share in some of the savings and then also return some of the savings to that department or division. And we've been very successful at doing that, I believe, in the last couple of years, several years, 2 to 3 years. We've actually downsized Mojave County by about 15 employees, which is a tremendous savings to Mojave County, and the departments have been able to share in those savings, and the employees have been able to benefit. So in my opinion, I really appreciate the board allowing me to move forward with these types of initiatives, because to me it's a win, 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 and it just makes us a more efficient and effective organization in doing so. And like I've always said, I'd rather have a core group of employees that are compensated fairly well than have a lot of employees that aren't. And that's what we're accomplishing here today, and we've got in front of you for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. And I too approve of this method. It's for a number of years we've been downsizing Mojave County's employment force, and this is just one more further move. And in light of the economic situation we've been in for the last 10 years, it's probably only rightfully so. When it does turn around, we'll look at it again. But downsizing is the way to go, and I appreciate that. Chair would entertain a motion.
Well, Chairman Watson, may I say something? I just want to reiterate, personally, I would like to have seen this all go on during the budget discussion, but I am glad because we gave the county administration the option to do this, and I think they've done it well. It does save money, but I just want it on the record that when you say eliminate vacant positions, it is done off the books. They're not funded, they're not maybe funded, they're not still there for future, they're off the books.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Angus, I'm glad you brought that to the attention. Anything that we bring forward to you will have the positions eliminated, and in this particular instance, that's exactly what's occurring. Those positions are off the books.
Because when we
And if
started...
they're not, by some sort of an error, I'll make sure that they are.
Okay. Because we did, when we started talking about this several years ago, that was it, by compensating people what they're worth, not by some archaic step thing. And I think, for the most part, we've been successful. And this one puts money back into HERF, which is always a good thing. So, I've been a little wishy-washy on voting for some, for not another, and it's not because I don't agree with it. It's because I would rather have been done during the budget process, but I'm all for saving money and downsizing. So thank you.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion for...
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? There being none, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried unanimously. On to item number 34, discussion, possible action, acknowledge the receipt and refer to Mojave County Transportation Commission for review and recommendation a petition filed with pursuant to Arizona Revised Statutes 28-6701 to designate a county highway an approximately 1.62 mile long section of Charles Drive from Pierceberry Road to Bullhead Road, located in the Meadview area. Supervisor Bishop, this is your district. Would you like to address this?
Yes, I would. Normally, we would just vote to send this to the Transportation Commission and have them bring it back to us, but I'd like to offer a different perspective on the current function of Charles Drive with the county pursued tertiary maintenance petition that was filed in 2008, and then it didn't get the BLM right-of-way granted until 2014, so it was a pretty long and involved process, and very happy to report that Charles Drive is maintained with tertiary maintenance, which is once, maybe twice a year, and storm cleanup during the monsoon season. So that's a big improvement on Charles Drive for the Meadview community. But in order to go forward with what the petition is requesting to grant this as a county highway, I think it's premature and problematic. The right-of-way for Charles is far less than what the county standards call for. In fact, from Pierce Ferry Road to Sandy Point, the county has a 20-foot right-of-way on the south that was dedicated by Lake Mead City, units 23, 29, and 17, and an additional variable width from BLM on the north side. That variable width was based on not removing any of the Joshua trees out there and keeping a 10-foot clear zone around the existing Joshua. The nearest Joshuas are marked to discourage encroachment by our road graders already, and others. Consequently, the road department does maintain about 21 foot of travelway with no ability to construct or maintain any additional width, shoulders, or ditches. And then from Sandy Point to Bullhead, we have a 40-foot right-of-way that was granted on the north side by the Keystone Unit 13, 29, and 17, with no record of any BLM right-of-way found on the south side. So consequently, the road department maintains 23 to 24 foot of the travelway with no ability to construct shoulders or ditches on that area as well. The BLM land adjacent to Charles is signed with Grapevine Mesa Joshua Tree National Landmark, and they protect the Joshuas out there, and that's part of the problem. So based on this information, Charles Drive is functioning as a neighborhood collector road. It only extends 2 miles east, as you can see from the backup material map. From Pierce Ferry, it serves only 2 subdivisions mentioned and does not connect any regional highways, industry, or commercial areas, parks, or other growing communities. So with that information, I'm going to recommend the formation of a road improvement district as a more appropriate direction for the petitioner, which I've done in the past. And as such, I would encourage staff to work with the petitioner if he decides to go this direction, to work with the petitioner and BLM in acquiring additional right-of-way, as well as BLM's consent to upgrade the surface condition of Charles Drive. So with that being said, I would like to make a motion to deny this petition going to the Transportation Committee. I think it's a waste of their time, it's a waste of our time, it's premature.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Chairman Watson, this is only to go to Mojave County Transportation Commission, and I don't know. So now, Supervisor, we make that decision. I thought that's why we have the commission, is to take it out of here for maybe personal reasons or whatever, and let them decide, and then we can have this discussion. But I don't know why we would have a Transportation Commission if these decisions are now going to be made here and stopping it from going through. If the petitioner, did everything that they were supposed to do, I don't see why we just can't let it take its natural course.
Thank you, Supervisor Angus.
Mr. Chairman?
I believe because of the complexity of the situation out there with the Joshua trees, the minimal right-of-way, it's a very confusing issue. I believe Charles Road is one of the roads in which they travel to get their standpipe for the water. Is that the correct road, Supervisor Bishop?
I'm not aware of a standpipe. Maybe Director Lukowski
Maybe
can.
I've got the wrong road. But I do know the complexity of the issues of the Joshua trees and a number of other issues.
I know there are water haulers that use that road, but whether or not the standpipe is located on Charles Drive, I don't know. Mr. Lukowski, can you?
Good morning, Chairman Watson, members
morning.
of the board. I do understand from the applicant that, as Supervisor Bishop alluded to, that there are water haulers that use Charles Drive to access a standpipe. Whether the standpipe is situated exactly immediately off of Charles Drive, I cannot say for certainty, but I do believe, and the average daily traffic is about 161 vehicles per day, as per a recent count conducted by Public Works. So it may suggest that there are some water haulers that utilize the roadway. We have done our level best, and I am very proud of the road division in its maintenance of Charles Drive in its unsurfaced condition to a tertiary standard. We have, by and large, outside of some storm impacts, done a sound job of maintaining that roadway in its tertiary state. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lutowski. I believe there also is the heliport back in that area too. Isn't that correct?
Chairman Watson, members of the board, I do not have the specifics with regard to any other services. I know Smith Drive is south of, on the south end of that particular platted subdivision, so that may be the route, but regardless, I don't know for certainty.
Okay.
Chairman Watson,
Thank you.
according to the map, Smith Road is 4 or 5 streets from Charles, and it does have a heliport and a water standpipe there. So I think because Charles Drive is maintained with tertiary maintenance, a lot of water haulers will go from the standpipe on Smith Road and connect to Charles and then use it. And I think that's where the water haulers are coming from.
Okay.
And then in regards to Supervisors Angus's comment, if this is sent to the Transportation Commission, usually all the members of the Transportation Commission will go out and visit this road, and it's quite a ways to Meadview. And I think it's unnecessary at this time until the right-of-way is available and the Joshua trees are not protected anymore. Excuse me. That was my thought.
Thank you very much. Okay, any further discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor to, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed?
Aye.
The motion carried. That concludes our agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, the audience, thank you for participating with us on our first meeting of 2018.